welcome back to another episode of our podcast. Pretty crazy weeks the past week. A lot of stuff to kind of cover and stuff like that. So, yeah, how are we feeling?
Yeah, this is going to be a big WWE week that we're going to be talking about here. You know, coming off of one of the people are saying is one of the best Raws, and then right after that, you show up with one of the best NXTs, and then you show up with one of the best SmackDowns. So this was probably one of the best weeks of WWE television in forever. All three shows hit. So yeah, it'll be a majority of WWE today, but we will get into some AEW, some Forbidden Door. So yeah, get ready for that.
Yeah, we're gonna kind of start off with like the hot topics, and I guess the hottest topic of the week is that the Wyatt 6 finally make their debut in WWE in one of the craziest fashions I have ever seen. One of the best debuts and one of the coolest cinematographies that WWE has did as of late. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, how you think?
Yeah, I mean the scene. It was literally shot like a movie. We were getting teases, obviously, as everyone knows, for the past 4 months, maybe somewhere around there. So yeah, it finally, came to TV. We got the final kind of message the previous week where it said it mentioned a CG, and that's basically the person that they were going to be coming after, was whoever the CG person was. People thought it to be a lot of people, but obviously the big one was Chad Gable. And sure enough, that's what it was. But yeah, like I said, this was kind of shot like a movie. You get the, I'll kind of let you explain how, the whole thing started exactly. But it's just a big, like, wow moment, kind of.
Yeah, so after the Jey Uso Finn Balor qualifying match, Jey Uso gets the win. And then right after that, the lights go out of the arena. We see the door that we famously see with Bray Wyatt and Uncle Howdy. And then out comes Sister Abigail, aka Nikki Cross. She crawls out with the lantern, and then we have like a long cut that goes behind the door and then into the backstage area. We see Huskus the Pig, and I'm pretty sure that's being played by Joe Gacy. We see Dexter Loomis. We see Eric Rowan. Now, obviously, we didn't see them themselves, but the characters that they will be portraying. And then we see Uncle Howdy. But with all that being said, there was a lot of... One thing that they kind of made a big point on was doing a massacre. And when I say they portrayed that perfectly in this, they did just that. Multiple bodies scattered around the gorilla position into like the walkway to the arena. And yeah, it just looked like an absolute mess. And we finally see Uncle Howdy, and they all come out together with the lantern, and they say, "We're here." He blows out the lantern, and that is all we see from that night. It was weird to see Chad Gable being the main target, because he is already in his own storyline with Otis and Alpha Academy right now. So it's weird to see him being maybe thrown into another one. Obviously, he could just be like a target, or just like just filling a role maybe. But if he is the main target and that this is a new storyline for him, would be very interested to see how it goes.
Yeah, and it was also kind of said that the reason why they were going after him was because he stopped saying thank you and things of that nature. So basically him turning heel cost him whatever happened here. We still don't even exactly know what happened, because that was like kind of like the final moments of Raw as it goes off air. So yeah, today, as everyone's watching this, you'll find out today probably Chad Gable is medically cleared somehow already. So we will see him in action for a Money in the Bank qualifier match. Will they show up during his match? I would assume something.
Yeah.
Maybe he's like a weird like possession thing where something happens to him in the match without them being there.
Yeah, and the thing as well is he is in the triple threat match, and it's also with Braun Strowman as well. So I would very much assume that neither one of them will win, and that probably means Bronson Reed will probably win this match. But it seems like that will probably be the best time if they want to reintroduce him as well to the storyline. Also, to mention as well, is they've been going on Pat McAfee's show, kind of like turn off the lights and like putting out some messages. At first, I think Pat said that it wasn't the Wyatt 6, and then he said you don't have to worry about it. But I think it's kind of obvious that it is. It's also funny seeing people who don't watch wrestling watch it and be like, "Oh, it's just ESPN and Disney's propaganda. They're trying to like cut off his show and stuff," which is really funny. But yeah, so maybe Pat's another target, and maybe that might be a way to write him off for the football season that's coming up in a few months. So yeah, kind of interesting stuff with this. Very interested to see what's next for him as well.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, the whole Wyatt 6 debut, everyone looked great. There was like a kind of picture that went viral after where kind of everybody from the Wyatt 6 went and to a Whataburger, and then there was a fan there. He got a picture with all of them kind of out of their gear and everything, and it was just, you know, just them. And it was just a really cool picture just to see how like happy all of them looked. They looked like they were like pleased with everything that happened and how everything portrayed on camera. So yeah, it looks like everyone's happy with it, as they should be. And yeah, very excited to see where the story goes from here.
Yeah. And we're stay on last week's Raw, and we had the return, very surprisingly, of Seth Rollins. He is back, and he comes out, starts cutting a promo saying that he wants to still prove that he is not only the best in the WWE, but one of the best of all time. And he says he wants to do that by winning the Money in the Bank. Then out comes Damian Priest, and he kind of says, "You know what? You never had your rematch yet, so I will do you the favor of giving you a match." And it seemed like they were not buddy-buddy, but it was like they have a mutual respect for one another. So Damian pretty much says, "I'll give you a title shot at Money in the Bank." So at Money in the Bank now, it is official that we will have Seth Rollins versus Damian Priest for the World Heavyweight Champion. Bit surprising because it could mean that Damian loses it, but at the same time, I wouldn't think that Seth would win it again this early. What do you think, though?
Yeah, I would almost even potentially expect Drew McIntyre to get involved. Whether he goes after Seth or goes after Priest, I'm not sure which way he'll go, or just go after both, I guess. But I do kind of feel like there's like potential for a Drew McIntyre run in here, just to keep the belt on Priest without Seth getting pinned. He just gets disqualified. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with this.
Yeah. Really, I'm kind of lost on what I really think's gonna happen, because I could see Seth winning just because it's Seth, and maybe they just don't want him versus, and they don't want Damian versus Gunther, and Seth and Gunther I think would be a better match. But at the same time, I don't see Seth winning because of him just coming back. He just lost the belt, and I think if you were to put it back on him, it's a bit weird, and I think you'd have the crowd turn on Seth. So don't think that would be the best idea. But obviously, great to see Seth again because he's one of the best. It's always fun seeing him, and he makes for great TV. Keeping on topic with Money in the Bank, though, we have the updated participants in the ladder matches. For the women's, we only had two, and that is Chelsea Green and Io Sky. Chelsea beat Bianca Belair, and I believe who was it?
Bianca Belair. I forget who it was actually. Now I'm thinking about it. But I do remember that Bianca Michin, right?
Oh yeah, it was Michin.
Yeah, Bianca does KOD to Michin. She goes to go for the pin, and Chelsea comes from kind of out of the ring, pushes Bianca out of the ring, and pins her off of the KOD. So she won off of Bianca's move. Really cool moment. Really wanted her to win. Probably my pick to win Money in the Bank already, even with only two people. Yeah, really cool for Chelsea. Io, she has her whole feud kind of going on with Lyra Valkyria, and she will also have a match tonight. It's Kyrie, Lyra, and somebody, I forget who the third is, sorry. But yeah, so I'm assuming Lyra wins that, so we see Io and Lyra both in the Money in the Bank, and that's kind of the big one-on-one feud in the ladder match,
Yeah. And on the men's side, we had Jey Uso beat Finn Balor, and then we also had Andrade beat Grayson Waller and Kevin Owens, and we had Carmelo Hayes beat Tama Tonga and Randy Orton in his qualifying match. Really like the picks so far for everybody winning it. Obviously, Jey Uso is kind of the obvious pick, and I know he's not my favorite to win, but it makes sense why he's in this in the Money in the Bank right now. But really glad for Andrade and Carmelo. Andrade is somebody who a lot of people had high hopes when he came back to WWE because he is a fantastic wrestler, and it seemed like with AEW he kind of evolved a little bit. And now when he came back to WWE, it's kind of like we're kind of back in the same position we already were, and hopefully this leads to big things for Andrade. I don't think he'll win this, however, I think he'll have a good showing in it.
Yeah, and then, going on, we have Liv Morgan and Dom, another just major talking point over the past few weeks. I don't even really know how to go, about talking about this. Y'all see it. Y'all know what's going on. But the whole story is just crazy, especially with what happened last week where, he's looking for his sweater, his vest, he's looking all over for it. He walks in the hallway, and Liv Morgan has it on. She basically tells him, if you want it, then take it. And then she sits there, and he wants his vest, man. So he starts taking it off, and then who comes around the corner but Damian Priest with this world title, kind of catches him. Obviously, looks a little suspicious, and yeah, he was not very happy about that. Neither was Dom. He's still not fully on Liv's side. Doesn't seem like he's fully against Liv as well. So we're still kind of in development with that. I'm assuming at some point they will just be together. Yeah. But that hasn't happened yet, and he is still kind of avoiding her, kind of annoyed from her right now. And yeah, what do you think?
Yeah. The main thing with me, I'm concerned about, is just like, what's the payoff going to be? Is it as simple as just Liv and Dom getting together, and then when Rhea's back, they have the match, and then Rhea wins? Is that like the full payoff? But obviously, it's making for great television. It's been very funny. A lot of great moments have come out of this that I think people will remember for the rest of the year, and probably down the line for one of the craziest moments on TV in years. But yeah, I think with this, I definitely see Liv and Dom finally. I think that'll be Dom's way out of Judgment Day. It's kind of just he wants to be with her, and he probably can't be with Judgment Day and Liv at the same time, so he has to choose. And I think he probably would choose Liv.
Yeah, I do also have like a second sort of theory that I've had in my head, and it's that they could kind of just swerve us completely, and Dom does get with Liv, but when Rhea comes back, he turns on Liv, and it was like a plot kind of from him and Rhea. I could kind of see that happening as well, because it is Rhea. That's like on par with her, character and things she's done in the past and whatnot. But yeah, that's just another like secondary theory I have, that it's kind of like a double cross from WWE to the fans. It's like, oh, Dom, he crossed Rhea, but he actually did, and he's coming back, and it kind of goes full circle. That's just like a secondary theory.
No, I can never see that happening though. But yeah, crazy TV between Liv and Dom, always funny. But yeah, going to SmackDown now. The big talking point of SmackDown is the debut, finally, of Jacob Fatu. We've been saying ever since he signed the contract, and we've been saying, when is he going to come back? It's going to be this pay-per-view, this pay-per-view, this pay-per-view. But finally, he debuts. It was Kevin Owens, or it was Cody Rhodes, Randy, and Kevin Owens, and they have Solo on the ground after they already took out the rest of the bloodline. And then Solo's kind of like in the corner, telling him to back off and just tell him to stop. He starts smiling, and then out comes Jacob Fatu, and he looks like an absolute beast. Just one of the best like dominance debuts we've seen. And yeah,
he comes in, he takes out 3 of the biggest baby faces, including the world champion. And yeah, I love the facial expressions he was making, just like the Umaga type of facial expressions. Just a super serious, crazy person. Just look in his eyes. Obviously, we all know, if you've seen any sort of clips from him, his moveset is very good. He's athletic, and we've seen that where he does a frog splash from the top rope to the outside commentator's table on Cody Rhodes and takes him out. And Cody later reveals that he broke 2 ribs, assuming obviously that is a work and he's not breaking both of his ribs. Shout out to Cody for selling those. But yeah, they made Jacob Fatu look like a star. and I see why maybe that rumor could have been true that came out a while back, where they were kind of afraid to bring Jacob Fatu into the bloodline with the fear of outshining Solo Sikoa. Because even already it does feel like, wow, like, this guy just came in and took out all of them, and Solo could barely take out any of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a little surprising for that, but very excited to see him. He looks like a star, and I mean, by all means, he'll probably be a star. He has like the second most selling T-shirt already on WWE. So yeah, he's going nuts right now.
Yeah, very excited for what is to come with Jacob Fatu, whether that be in the bloodline or eventually when he's out of the bloodline, assuming that is the case. But yeah, he's going to be a top guy for sure. Definitely see him winning a lot of belts, and probably eventually a world champion, I'd say. But yeah, also on the same SmackDown, we were in Chicago, and we got the return of CM Punk in Chicago. This was a very fun segment. He kind of comes out and is just... he's not really saying much, kind of just saying that this is like his hometown and that he loves it and that he'll never doubt them, and that at Clash they can't compare to them and stuff like that. And then out comes Paul Heyman, and he kind of is like, I need you to do me a favor, and if you do me the favor, I'll do you a favor. And he says, I need you to leave the ring because the Bloodline are on their way, and if they get if they come out here, they're gonna beat you, and you won't ever be cleared again. And then he was like, okay. And he kind of hears them out, and then the Bloodline comes out, and they're about to storm in the ring, and he pauses them for a second. He's like, but Paul, what was the favor you want me to do for you? And he was like, if you do that, take me with you. Which was very surprising, very, very shocking to me. And Punk is almost like shocked by what he said, but the Bloodline still comes in, and they're about to attack him, but out comes Captain America, Cody Rhodes, with the bat to help CM Punk, which is pretty cool. So we don't get Punk and Paul Heyman, but we do get a tease of that, so hope that'll definitely be happening once Paul Heyman is gone from the Bloodline.
Yeah, very cool. And like you said, just kind of almost like a jaw-dropping moment when he said that. Definitely wasn't what I expected in the very least. But I would be very happy to see Paul Heyman and Punk together. And I did also see something online where it was like Roman as the head of the table will basically would never attack CM Punk before because it was a Paul Heyman guy as well, and out of respect for Paul Heyman, he wouldn't do it. So obviously that could be another split between Roman and Solo, as he's calling himself the tribal chief, and he's kind of doing what maybe Roman wouldn't have done if he was in his position,
Yeah.
And obviously Paul Heyman, he's at this point threatened. He's trying to leave, actively trying to leave. Later on in the night, Solo does kind of confront him about saying that. And yeah, he basically tells him that Roman isn't coming back.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the big talking point from that conversation, was him saying that. Now, what does that mean? No one really knows as of yet. There was a copyright thing that came out from WWE where they kind of claimed the name Caesar Sikoa. I'm assuming that's gonna lead to Hikuleo when he finally makes his debut. So what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, with the Punk and Paul Heyman stuff, that's obviously something that would be great. But it would be very weird to see Paul Heyman not with Bloodline, because we've kind of got accustomed to it. The same way we kind of got accustomed to him with Brock. But yeah, when we do I'm assuming we already get more members of the Bloodline and stuff like that, it is going to be a crazy mess, because I'm interested to see how WWE will handle all of it, because there's so many different pieces that you have to involve with it, but you also have to make sure everybody gets the same spotlight, but you still need to push Roman to be Roman and stuff like that. Obviously Roman's going to come back eventually, whether that is as a heel or a babyface. I would lean more towards the babyface side if I had to guess, just because I feel like he'll be the big save for Paul Heyman maybe someone's about to attack him, and then out comes Roman. Staying on topic with CM Punk, we also had some more development with the CM Punk and Drew McIntyre storyline. We're having a segment with Grayson Waller and DIY, and then they're like by like where the trucks would enter at, and we start hearing banging on it, and then we see a bloodied, laid out CM Punk on the ground with Drew McIntyre staying over him. He picks him up, carries him all the way through to the stage, and he drops him. And kind of just leaves him hanging. He also takes a bracelet, and I've seen a few people say it has the names of Larry and AJ Lee. Whether that's true or not, I don't really know, but I'm kind of taking the word for it. But yeah, what do you think this plays into next between Drew and CM Punk?
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that this is gonna be, reason for Punk to now want to actually get in the ring with them. Obviously, before he just wanted to kind of cost them. Whenever he was healthy, he was going to get in the ring. But it feels like, and with him being physical, it also feels like that he'll be back very soon. Or maybe he's already cleared and they didn't just want to say it because he technically didn't say if he was or wasn't.
Yeah.
So I do kind of think he's cleared, but if not, then he's probably really close. But with that being said, I think the next time we do see him in the ring, because I'm assuming he'll probably be out for a few weeks because of the attack from Drew McIntyre and whatnot. But I do expect when we do see him back that he goes full CM Punk 2010, and he just goes and attacks Drew McIntyre and just kind of cements that their feud, and that'll be obviously hopefully our SummerSlam main event. That's gonna be the big match that I hope happens.
Yeah, I definitely think he'll be there at SummerSlam. Because I think we kind of wanted him to say whether he was healthy or not, but we didn't get that. So hopefully this is kind of like a teaser, like test to make sure can he take the bumps and we're all good and stuff like that. Because he kind of was landed on his right arm. I don't know which one's injured. I think it's the right one. And he landed on it. To me, that kind of looks like he wants to test it to make sure. All right, kind of landed on it, and I'm feeling good after it. But yeah, really, this is one of the best. This is probably like the best feud of the year, and we haven't had a match between the two of them, which is crazy to say because you usually don't say that.
Yeah, I mean, this literally stemmed all the way from Royal Rumble and even a little bit before Royal Rumble. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Drew was the one who injured Punk. Punk was the one who now calls Drew twice now. So yeah, very cool. One, like you said, one of the best feuds in all of wrestling right now. Probably the best feud in all of wrestling right now. But yeah, and I guess going off of that, we could kind of go into how WWE is making some of their biggest moves that they've ever done. I mentioned earlier that they've had the best week of WWE television in years, with Raw, NXT, and SmackDown, all three being fantastic. But also, they're kind of spreading the love around a little bit. We've been having TNA and NXT crossovers, as a lot of you know if you watched any of our other videos or if you watched it yourself. We've had Jordan Grace on NXT. We've had Tatum Paxley on TNA. Obviously the home people kind of won their respective matches, but we also this week seen Joe Henry and Frankie Kazarian both appear on NXT. Unfortunate for Joe Henry, he gets kind of teamed up on everybody in their battle royal for the NXT championship, and he just gets thrown out immediately. And Frankie Kazarian is the one that kind of throws him over to kind of cement their feud in TNA. But yeah, really cool moment. The pop was huge, and yeah, it was just a really cool moment to see the crossovers.
Yeah, although the moment didn't last very long, he kind of just cut a quick promo and then gets in the ring and then is eliminated basically immediately by Frankie Kazarian. He did have a backstage segment with Shawn Michaels, and that was posted up on their social media. And he was just saying that I can show up wherever I want, whenever I want, and because I'm Joe Hendry, basically. So definitely not going to see that. This isn't the last time you see Joe Hendry in an NXT ring, or WWE ring, rather. But yeah, very excited and very happy that we finally got what we all wanted. It's been one of the longest running like memes, but things that everybody wanted, and we finally got it, and it paid off to I think what everybody, maybe not exactly how everybody wanted it, but at least close enough to what we wanted. But yeah, seeing Frank Kazarian, a very tenured vet, being in NXT was pretty cool because he's somebody who hasn't done much in WWE since I think he had like a little run, but wasn't like nothing of value really. But to see him back is pretty cool. And Tatum Paxley being in TNA was pretty cool as well, just because it is just still kind of mind-boggling that we do have crossovers between WWE and TNA now, because this would have never happened like 3-4 years ago.
Yeah, and then the even more crazier part is that's not all of the crossovers. That's just the beginning and the honestly the smaller side of things, because up next, and excuse me for this name, but we have at Marigold, which is the company that Julia's at. WWE's in good relations with them, and they're obviously gonna get Julia at some point. But Io Sky versus Utami Hayashida.
I think that's close.
Excuse me if I'm wrong. I may have been terrible, but yeah, I'm not very familiar with Utami, obviously, but it's just very exciting that she's loved online by all of the Japan crowd and that part of the country. So I'm very just excited to see this match because I know it'll be a different style than what we've ever seen Io Sky in the WWE. Yeah. Obviously, she has wrestled in Stardom and everywhere else, but I've only grown accustomed to seeing her in the WWE. So a hard hitting, cool match like this with somebody who Io respects, from what I've read online, I think that's very cool for Io, for Utami, for the WWE, and especially for Marigold as a brand new company just starting, getting their feet off the ground. Having Io Sky there is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, this is what a lot from. Obviously, I'm not the biggest Utami fan. I'm not gonna say that I've watched all her matches, but I have watched like one or two, and she is great. She is phenomenal, and from what I understand, this is a dream match for a lot of people that we haven't seen this before. And they are very respectful to each other. They really want to get in the ring with each other. So for that to finally happen, and being with the circumstances that it is happening in, with Io not even being in Marigold and her being in WWE and this happening, it's still just so crazy. But yeah, this is going to be an absolutely phenomenal match. A match that I definitely recommend anybody who can watch it, try to watch it, because it will be fantastic.
Yeah, and once again, we are still not done because it gets even better from there. And now on Noah Pro Wrestling, we will have AJ Styles versus Maru Fuji.
Yeah.
And just this came out of absolutely nowhere. He gets beat by Cody Rhodes at Clash at the Castle, and about 3 days after that, we get this announcement. So what do you think about this one?
Yeah, I mean, this is another crazy one. Marufuji is one of the guys who is very respected by so many people. He seems to be kind of like, I'm not gonna say like a trailblazer, but it seems like everybody just has so much love and respect for him. I know Will Ospreay really wanted to work with him, and I think they did on Marufuji's birthday, so which was pretty cool. And AJ Styles and him finally locking up. I don't know if this is the first time or not, but it is very cool that a GOAT like AJ Styles, and I don't know how great people consider Marufuji, but I know that people do highly respect him. But yeah, this should be absolutely crazy, and another great match. Another one, if you can watch, try to watch it.
Yeah, and all of this just to say that this is what WWE should have been doing.
Oh, yeah,
kind of. Sure. You don't obviously, as WWE, you don't want another company even getting close to your level, because you don't want to be overtaken at the end of the day. They built a legacy with WWE, and this should never go away, in my opinion, as well. But with that being said, you are so big, and even AEW, they are competition. Don't get me wrong, but they're still not there yet. They still have work to do to even be in the same conversation. You know what I mean? So them showing love to all of these companies and stuff, just letting their performers go there and just have good matches, that helps the performers because they get money. That helps the other promotions, and it helps WWE because all the people who are kind of sick of WWE and they're just they take over everything. If we finally got this good person in this promotion and they bought them, or whatever. So that, a lot of people have mixed emotions for WWE who go to like these smaller promotions and watch them religiously. So for them to kind of mend that and now everything's okay, all those fans will come to WWE as well. And for all the other companies, it's amazing for them. And AJ Styles gets to have dream matches, and Io Sky, and these are all dream matches for these guys that I'm sure that they wanted to do this for sure. So yeah, this is just really cool. Happy WWE is doing a good thing and the right thing and the smart thing, and giving everybody what they want essentially.
Yeah. Obviously, I don't know if this is necessarily true or not, but I think if AEW didn't do the Forbidden Door with New Japan, and then now this year with CMLL, AAA, and even Stardom now, I don't think WWE would also do their own collabs with other companies. They had the WCW collab, but that was under such different circumstances because WWE literally bought them out, so they had no choice to do it. But I would like to think that WWE kind of seen that AEW was able to work with different companies, and they had a great event, and it's always Forbidden Door is one of the best pay-per-views of each year since we had it. So I would like to think that WWE seen that was like, okay, can we do this, and how good can we do it? And it seems like they're doing more with like lesser companies, because I would still say that AEW and New Japan are kind of is worth more to me than what TNA and WWE collab is. But yeah, still great to see companies working together, because I think that's best for the fans and best for the wrestlers, which is all that matters at the end of the day.
Yeah, and if we want to talk about TNA a little bit more, they did get Matt Hardy there. He had a match versus Moose, where Jeff Hardy made his big return to TNA as well, and Red B. Hardy was there, and that was a big thing. Just kind of want to quickly throw that in there.
Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of all of our WWE segments done. We're going to kind of do a quick preview on Forbidden Door, because we do want to talk about AEW at least a little bit, because they haven't had too much happening. I don't think we talked about it in our last podcast about whether was it not Revolution. What pay-per-view was recently? AEW. I don't even remember. But either way, kind of do a quick preview of like what we have for Forbidden Door. We will have predictions coming out this week, because that is the pay-per-view. We have Swerve Strickland versus Will Ospreay for the AEW World Champion. We have the vacant ladder match, or for the vacant TNT Champion. We have Takeshita, Mark Briscoe, Jack Perry, Dante Martin, and Leo Rush in a to-be-determined person. We have Mercedes Moné taking on Stephanie Vaquer for both the TBS Champion and the New Japan Women's Strong Champion. We have Toni Storm versus Mina Shirakawa, with Mariah May both in their corner. We have Zack Sabre Jr. versus Orange Cassidy, Moxley versus Naito for the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, Jeff Cobb versus a to-be-determined opponent for the World Television Champion, MJF versus Henshin Seto, Bryan Danielson versus Shingo Takagi in the first round for the Owen Hart Cup tournament, and then we have a trios match between the Learning Tree and Samoa Joe, Hook, and Shibata. So, very set card already. A lot of matches I'm looking forward to. What's the match so far that you're most excited for?
I'm probably going to say Zack Sabre Jr. and Orange Cassidy as of right now. I think the MJF match will be good, but I'm just not very familiar with his opponent. But I am familiar with Zack Sabre. I am familiar with Orange Cassidy. The two of my favorites. Zack Sabre Jr. is one of the best in the world, and yeah, I think they're gonna bloody each other up for sure.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm always gonna be biased towards Bryan Danielson, but Bryan Danielson versus Shingo Takagi is definitely something I'm looking forward to. Two great grapplers, and hopefully they have some magic in the ring. Both dragons going at it. But yeah, that will kind of do it for the news, I guess. But yeah, very excited. A lot of wrestling going on, and yeah.
Yeah, very excited as well for the Mercedes Moné. This is, in my opinion, her actual first match. Obviously, she did have, I believe, 2 matches before this one, but this is kind of the one that feels like the first. Like, it feels like the first big match, at least. But yeah, this is what I'm very excited for. I'm not familiar with Stephanie Vaquer at all, but I have seen clips. I have seen a few matches online, like little pieces and whatnot. And I know her moveset is very good. A lot of people talk very highly of her, and I am pretty excited to see this. And they did actually have like a face-to-face this past weekend where Mercedes went to forgive me, I don't remember the name of the promotion.
In Mexico, and I think for CMLL or CMLL.
Yeah, and Stephanie was there. She comes in the ring and she kind of gloats in her face with the TBS title, and I don't remember exactly what she said, but she said something to the effect of, "I'm gonna kick your ass next Saturday or Sunday, whatever." So yeah, that also came up. So yeah, pretty excited for that as well.
But yeah, that will do it for our 5th episode of our podcast. If you guys made it this far, make sure to like and subscribe, and kind of give us some topics that you guys want for us to incorporate into the podcast, because we're trying to do a little bit more with it, because I know it's not the most exciting because it is just kind of recapping the past 2 weeks. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you guys in the next video.